Divrei-HaYamim Bet. 2 Chronicles, chapter 21. Yehoshaphat slept with his ancestors, and was buried with his ancestors in the city of David, and Jehoram his son became king in his place. He had brothers who were sons of Yehoshaphat: Azaryah, Yechi'el, Zakharyahu, Azaryahu, Mikha'el and Sh'fatyahu. All these were sons of Yehoshaphat, king of Israel. Their father had given them lavish gifts of silver, gold, and other items of value, as well as fortified cities in Yehudah. But he had given the kingdom to Jehoram, because he was the firstborn. But when Jehoram had taken control of his father's kingdom and consolidated his rule, he put to the sword all his brothers and a number of the leading men in Israel. He was 32 years old when he began his reign, and he ruled 8 years in Yerushalayim. He lived after the example of the kings of Israel, as did the house of Achav, because he had married Achav's daughter. He did what was evil from Adonai's perspective. However, Adonai was unwilling to destroy the house of David, because of the covenant he had made with David, inasmuch as he had promised to give him and his children a lamp that would burn forever. During his time, Edom revolted against Yehudah and set up its own king. Then Jehoram crossed with his commanders and all his chariots. Under cover of night, he and his chariot commanders attacked and defeated Edom, who had surrounded him. Nevertheless, since that day, Edom has remained free of Yehudah's domination. Livnah revolted against him at the same time, because he had abandoned Adonai, the God of his ancestors. Moreover, he built high places in the hills of Yehudah, caused the people living in Yerushalayim to prostitute themselves, and drew Yehudah away. A letter came to him from Eliyahu the prophet, which said, "Here is what Adonai, the God of David your ancestor, says. You have not lived by the examples of Yehoshaphat your father, or Asa, king of Yehudah. Instead, you have lived by the example of the kings of Israel, and have caused Yehudah and the people living in Yerushalayim to prostitute themselves, just as the cause of Achav caused Israel to prostitute themselves. Moreover, you killed your brothers from your father's house, men better than you. Because of all this, Adonai is going to strike your people with a terrible disease, also your children, your wives, and everything you have. You will be very ill from a disease in your intestines, until your intestines protrude, because of the effects of this disease day after day." Then Adonai aroused against Jehoram the spirit of the Philistine and of the Arabs near the Ethiopians, and they came up to attack Yehudah. They broke in and carried off all the personal property they could find in the royal palace, as well as his children and his wives, so that no son was left to him except Jehoahaz, his youngest son. After all this, Adonai struck him in his intestines with an incurable disease. In time, after 2 years, his intestines protruded because of his disease, and he suffered a most painful death. His people kindled no fire for him, as had been done for his ancestors. He was 32 years old when he began his reign. He ruled in Yerushalayim for 8 years, and he left without joy. They buried him in the city of David, but not in the tombs of the kings. End of 2 Chronicles, chapter 21.